Dear student, today we will discuss concept of database security. As data is very important asset of any organization, the variable resource that might be strictly controlled and managed within any organizations. So when we say that we are having the database security, we have to protect the data, protection of the data against accidental or intentional loss, destruction or misuse. So when we protect the data against any type of the loss that can be accidental or intentional, destruction or any type of the misuse that may have the further consequences. Access to a data has become more open through the internet and different organizations over the internet, and we are having the different type of the mobile computing devices. Whenever user can access the data from the different sources, then the managing data security effectively have become more difficult and time consuming. We are having different risks on the data. Thus in database security we have to protect the data against any type of loss, damage, misuse. So for the protection of the data in database, it is the responsibility of database administrator to develop overall policies and procedure to protect the database. Only DBA is responsible to provide the protection of the data. DBA is responsible for database security on the daily basis, for administrating database security. Part or all the organization data may have the strategic importance, and therefore it is very necessary to keep secure and confidential data. The mechanism that protect the database against the intentional or accidental loss is the database security. Security considerations do not only apply to the data held in a database. Branches of the security may affect other part of the system, which may in turn affect the database. Like if any unauthorized person gain access to database, who may alter, change or even steal the data. Only database security does not ensure the secure database. It is very necessary that all part of the system must be secure, including database. We are having the network, we are having the hardware, operating systems, even room, building. We are having the where we are having the databases actually, staff members who have any opportunity to access the database, and even communication link. So for database security, all part of the system must be secure. When we say that in database security we must have to protect the different part of the systems, all part of the systems. So we are having different threats to database security. These threats are accidental loss, theft and fraud, improper data access, loss of data integrity and availability, loss of data integrity and loss of availability. First one, we are having the accidental loss. Accidental loss that is related to the human error, software failure or hardware failure. Let we see that when user is working and user perform any such operations that were not allowed, like divide by 0, multiply by infinity. So these are the human errors. Because of this, it may be possible, if any validation checks are not applied, system may crash. That is a human error. So accidental loss is because of the human error. Software failures. It is possible that our software crash downs, or hardware failures. Any storage devices crash, or any other hardware failure occurs. Second one, we are having theft and fraud. Theft and fraud, these activities are going to be performed by different people, quite possibly through electronic means that may or may not alter the data. That's why whenever different user can access the data, and they can alter or not alter the data. So to avoid that one, and intention is here, they should focus on each possible location. Like, we need the physical security must be established so that unauthorized people are unable to gain access. Similarly, to avoid the theft and fraud, establish the firewall to protect unauthorized people, unauthorized access to a database from outside the world, so that hamper the people whose aim is to theft or fraud in database. Next, another type, that is the loss of privacy. Loss of privacy means a loss of protection of individual's data. Failure to control the privacy of information may lead to blackmail, corruption, public embarrassment, or stealing of the user passwords. So when we say that we are having the loss of privacy, it means that may lead to the blackmailing, or even for the corruption, or any other part. And loss of privacy, we are having another concept, that is the loss of confidentiality. This means loss of the protection of organization data that may have strategic value in an organization. If we our organization is losing the confidentiality, it means organization has their own strategic values. So whenever the failures of the confidentiality control, that may lead to the loss of competitiveness. Then another, we are having the loss of data integrity. When data integrity mean correctness and accuracy of the data. When integrity is compromised, then user may be able to insert, enter invalid or incorrect data, or even corrected data. If user can't restore the data integrity using the backup and recovery, then it may suffer organization data, or we will have incorrect data, and that will affect overall decisions making within organizations. Next one is the loss of availability. When any hardware damage, networks, application are not working, server is down, that may cause the data to become unavailable to the users, which again may lead to the several operational difficulties. These are the few threats to database security. Now we are having the Database software security features. How we can implement the database security? What is the procedures to implement the database security? So for that one, very first one, we are having the view or subschema. View or subschema. View is actually a database object. That is a virtual storage of the data, or simply we say view is a virtual relations, as we are having the different database object: table, view, index, sequence. So view is a database object that have no storage. That is a virtual storage of the data that does not necessarily exist in the database but can produce upon request by a particular user at the time of request. It may dynamically derived from one or more base relations. We can derive the view from one relation or more than one relation. It is always based on the current data in the base table from which it is built. The view mechanism provides a powerful and flexible security mechanism by hiding the part of the database from the certain user. As the user is not aware of the existence of any attribute or row that are missing from the view. Let me create the view. That we are having in Oracle. We are connected with here in अच्छा schema. Now set line size, set page size, clear. Okay, now we see that we in employee table we are having 107 different records. We are having the different data is available that I am displaying it over here. Select employee ID, first name, last name, address, first name, last name. We are having salary, department ID, from employees. So when we execute this one query, department ID to depth ID, we change the name of table from employees. 107 different records are here. When we write this one simple query, now we are creating the simple view. How we can create the view? Creating the view, we have to simply write create or replace view that is related to the department ID. Let me say 60, depth 60, as now same queries that we have over there from employee where depth ID is equal to 60. Now view is created. Select static from depth 60. Now when we need it, depth 60. Now view is created over here. Now when we are executing it over here, select static from depth 60, it displays only these records. Now if we are having any user is there who belong to department ID 60, who is the administrator of department ID 60, what we have to do? We have to provide access to that user to the DECT60, and users does not know, user have no information about the employees tables. So user is not aware about the detail of the employee tables. So whenever we want to hide any row or portion of the table from any user, so for that purpose we can create the view. View prevent the user from viewing the other data that may be confidential or private. The user may be granted the right access the view, but not to access base table upon the view in the base. Right. Now, if let we have a user ABC is there, who belongs to department ID 60, we have to provide access to that 60 to the users. Thus, it means user is unaware about the employees table. User can access only these records. Right? User ABC may not be able to access any other record. So here we create only this one view. Now, if we want to make any change in the base table, let employees table, so those changes will be reflected over here to the users. Now this one is related to the view or subschema. Second one is the integrity control. Integrity control means that prevent data from becoming invalid and hence giving misleading or incorrect result. Maintaining a secure database by preventing data from becoming invalid, that is the database integrity. Protect data from unauthorized users. Why? Because if unauthorized user is there, he don't know about the integrity check like entity integrity, referential integrity, null constraints, check constraints, business rules. So unauthorized users are unaware about that. So when unauthorized users are unaware, thus these integrity constraints prevent users to perform the different invalid operations. Similarly, for that one we are having to maintain the integrity, we are having the domains for every attribute, set of allowable value that are used. Next one is authorization rule to maintain the database security. Two different things. We are having first one is authentication and second one is authorization. Let first me explain the authentication schemes and then we will move to the authorizations again. First, authentications. Authentication schemes means authentication rules mean positive identification of the users. Identify the users that who are trying to gain access to the computer or its resources. User is valid or not. To identify the users. User who want to access the database is a valid user or not. Like how we can identify? We can identify the user by using the passwords or PIN code. Sometimes we may have the any smart card or token. Sometimes we are having the other biometric attribute, personal characteristics like fingerprint, face recognition, eye recognition. How authentication can be possible? For that one we say that we are using the concept of password. If we are using only password, that is a one factor authentication scheme. The person who supplies valid password can log in to a database. DBA is responsible to assign the passwords, to change the passwords for any specific applications. For the password there must be some rules. When we see that we are having the passwords and that is necessary that we are having password must be 8 character at least. Password must contain at least 8 characters. Should be combination of alphabetic in numeric data. Means A to Z character must be there, and numeric data is also there. Should not be complete words or personal information. Should be changed frequently. Must contain the lowercase and uppercase letters. Similarly, must have at least one special character. So these are some rules for the passwords. That 8 characters should be 8 character combinations of the alphabet in numeric data. Should not be complete words. Should not be like date of birth or names. That must be changed frequently. Okay. When we say that we are using the authentication schemes, for authentication scheme we are having the different factor authentication. Let me create the users and assign the passwords. How DBA change passwords and how DBA can do that one. Provide authentication. How we can do it. Okay, clear screen. I'm connected with the sysdba. Okay, now alter session, set container is equal to orclpdb1. Okay, now we have to create the users. Create user, name of user, student identified by std. Create user, name of user std. Now username is here std, password of one is here std. So we must have a complex password. Let me say that student, S is initial one is capital, all the other are in lowercase. Now underscore, and I am using whatever 1 2 3. This one is a password. User is created, and this way we may be able to create the new users. Only DBA creates the users. All other users may not be able to create the users. Right? So whenever when this one user provide the username std and password student underscore 1 2 3, that is a complex password, then DBMS can recognize the users, can identify the user that this one is a valid user or not. This one is a one factor authentication. We may have the two factor authentication or three factor authentication. Strong authentication, like we see that two factor authentications we are using PIN code as well as ATM card or any card, smart card. Example of that one is ATM card, where we are using PIN code as well as card number. That is the two factor authentication. Which one is more secure than the one factor authentication, where we are using only passwords? Using the password is quite simple to hack, but whenever we are having the two factor authentication, this is more secure than the simple password. It is very difficult or quite difficult for unauthorized person to obtain both factors at the same time. If we want more secure authentication, for that one we are having the strong authentication. Like we may have the three factor authentication. In three factor authentications we have an extra biometric attribute like password, code in biometric attribute. This one is much more secure, as in two factor authentication that is not perfect all times. Card can be lost or stolen, PIN can be intercepted. For sensitive applications such as e-commerce and online banking, strong security is necessary. So for that one we say that we need a three factor authentication. Three factor authentication is implemented with the high technology, containing the smart card, containing the biometric attribute like fingerprint and passwords. And if we need more security, then we need the mediated authentication. For that one, we have to introduce the third party for authentication, which establish user authenticity through a trusted authentication agent, like we are having the Kerberos. This one is related to the authentications. In authentication rules, we have to identify the user, that user is valid or not. Now we are coming back to the authorizations rule. In authorization rules, are controlled and incorporated in the database management systems that restrict data access and restrict the actions that the people may take when they access the data. The user, let me say user who provides the user is having valid user is there. User is having username and password, is authorized to read some record of the data, but cannot necessary, but it may be possible that user may not be able to modify the data. User can read the data, but user may not be able to modify the data. So when we see that we are having concept of the authorization rule, what are the different operations that valid user can perform with the database? Person who supply a particular password is authorized to read the data, read the record, but user is not necessary to update the records. We see that for that one we have to use to authorize the users, to assign the privileges to the users. We have to use grant. To authorize the users, we have to use the grant. And to take back privileges from the users, we have to use the word revoke. We can assign the different type of the privileges to the users. If any valid user is available, we have to assign the different type of privileges to the users. Using the grant keyword, we may be able to assign the different type of privileges. How we can assign the privileges to the user? Let here we are having user is here, user is valid, std, password is here, std underscore 123. If I want to connect std slash student underscore 123 at orclpdb1, now it's it invalid users. Username is here std, and passwords we use it over here stud. What is the passwords? Let me alter the passwords. Now connect, we are having the username is here std slash passwords. Let me at orclpdb1. Now it's a user std lake create session privileges. User don't have privileges to create the sessions. Now who will assign the privileges? For that one we need the authorizations, and DBA can assign the privileges. For that one we have to connect sysdba. Now we have to use the alter session. Now how we can assign the privileges? Grant. Which one privilege we needed? Create session. For to perform the different type of operation like create table, create view, create index, what else? User needs the privileges. So I am assigning it over here. Create session, create view, create table to std. Now when we provide the grant, create sessions, create view, create table to the std, std is our new user, and we are assigning the different type of the privileges. What are those? Create session, create view, create table. Now when we assign these privileges, now if you want to connect with the users, connect student std, and then you assign the password at the rate of database names. Now we may be able to connect. Previously it said that we don't have privileges, lack of the create session privileges. Now if we want to access it over here, we create one new table, that view, that is the depth60, or implies select static from implies hr.implies, that is available in the hr schema, but we are not authorized to gain access. It says that table view does not exist, although we know that implies table is available. Same if you apply it over here, what, depth 60, currently we don't have access to this one as well. Now it says that tabular view does not exist. Again we have to connect with the sys users, and when we connect with the sys users, after that one we have to assign the privileges. That we only assign the privileges to this one view, that is depth60. Now we have to use it over a command. Now we have to use it over here, alter session. Now session is altered. Now we have to assign the privileges. Grant which one privileges, select on which one, tabular view hr.depth60. We are assigning the privileges to the users std, and that privileges only select, not update, not delete. Grant select on hr.depth60 to username is here std. Now if we connect with the users, now here we use it over here, grant select on hr.depth60 to department. Now onward user can assign these privileges or DBA. Now we are connected with the DBA, so that's why DBA can assign the privileges. We have to connect with the student users. If we want to select it over here, if you have to write the command over here, select static from implied, so it says that tabular view doesn't exist. But if we want to use it over here, select static from depth60. Previously it said that tabular view does not exist, but now we assign the privileges to this one user std, so we can access this one table. So we authorize the users to access this one table. If we again connect with the database, let we say we connect with the sys user and we want to take back the privileges from this one user. Okay, now how we can take back? Revoke, select on hr.depth60 from std. Now we take back privileges from the user. Revoke, select on this one table names from student. We take back privileges from the users. When we take back privilege from the user, it means that this one user, std user, may not be able to access the tabular view, and that is depth60. Right? connect student users. Now if we want to write it over here, this one command selects direct from depth60. Previously it displays data, but now it will not display in data. Tabular view does not exist. Why? Because we already take back privileges from the user. To assign the privileges to the user, we are using the grant keyword. To take back privileges from the users, we are using the word revoke. What are the different privileges that we can assign? We can assign select, insert, update, delete, alter, index, references, and execute. Grant can be used to assign the privileges. Let me say grant select comma update on hr.implies to std. Now another, we are having the encryptions. What is the encryption? It is the coding of the data so that human cannot read them. Some DBMS produce include the encryption routines that automatically encode the sensitive data when they are storing or transmitted over the communication channel. Encryption is commonly used in the electronic fund transfer systems. We are having the different type of approaches for encryption: one key encryption and two key encryptions. One key encryption, that is called data encryption standard. Both sender and receiver must know about that key. That is used to scramble the transmitted or stored data. That is a one key encryption. And second one, we are having the two key encryptions. And two key encryptions, we are having the asymmetric encryptions. We use public key and private key. Two key method is very popular, especially in e-commerce application, to provide the secure transmission and the database storage of the payment system like credit card numbers. We already discussed about the authentication schemes. Now next one, we are having the backup, journalizing in checkpoints. That can be also used for the database security. Backup, we can take the backup of the database. Journalizing, that is related to the log files that contain all the information related to the operation that are performed with the database. And checkpoints, we create the different database, DBMS create the different type of the checkpoint at different levels. So that is a way to use the, we will discuss these things in detail later on. Thanks for watching the video.